share with you as some of you are just joining our wonderful community of workouts and products and greatness of pain relief, or maybe you're just wanting to enhance your overall workouts. But today, I'm excited to share with you a new workout. We've done this similar in years past, but I'm going to try and keep this very short to the point. Anything that is related to pelvic floor, anything that is related to your hip. So today is going to be about whether you're trying to release SI joint pain, hip pain, deep abdominal pain, whether you're just wanting to get stronger if you've got an incontinence problem. If you are post C-section, post hysterectomy, if you've had prostate surgery recently, you've got a hernia. I'm going to teach you a series of exercises off the platform, and I'm going to teach you how to take them onto the platform. And so we're going to go through this process together very carefully over the next 30 minutes so that you can come back and repeat this day after day after day, and it becomes kind of an automatic part of your routine. Once you start to experience the habits developed over the next 15 days of trying this over and over and over again, eventually it turns into an automatic habit in which you don't have to think about doing these different things to get your muscles to fire. Want to share with you really quick on our pelvis here. Yes, we all have one of these. I've actually had a client say, do I really have one of those? Yes, you sure do. And our power vacuum is kind of created with a combination of our diaphragm, which is a very powerful muscle. It forms almost like an umbrella. And at the bottom here in the pubic circle of the pelvis, lies a hammock referred to as the pelvic floor. And you use the pelvic floor in order to use the bathroom and in order to stabilize to keep things from falling through. But a lot of times we don't realize how much those muscles are not working properly. And that can be the leading cause of back pain because as we sit a lot throughout the day, our pelvis, instead of being nice and straight up and down, actually starts to tilt a little bit so that we have more of a hyperextension in our low back, which creates these abdominal muscles being very sloppy, not turned on at all. And these muscles back here along the spine tend to be overworking. So we're going to try and reverse that because it takes about 3,000 pounds of energy in order to stretch this, because this part of our body is not supposed to stretch. It's a stability area. That is where our lumbar spine is kept stable with our sacrum. And if we end up in stretching this out, then these move the way they're not supposed to move. And then you start getting numbness and tingling into your legs. You lose control of your body. There's a lot of pain associated with that. So we actually don't want to try and stretch this out. It is a stability space. However, the glutes here that attach on both sides here tend to be weak and sloppy. So I'm going to teach you how to start working those muscles, because as these start to actually shorten and work the way that they're supposed to, we release and lengthen the hip flexors off the front. There's this great law in how our body moves. It's called the law of reciprocal inhibition. And what that means is if we are firing and shortening these muscles, if these more muscles get shortened here in the front and they start to work the way they're supposed to, then the deep back muscles that are running long lines up to the base of your neck, those will automatically lengthen without you having to try and stretch them, okay? And it happens from the inside, which is where the core foundation of our body is kind of working together. It's where everything transfers energy from the ground to our upper body. So I'm going to teach you today how to start working these. So if you do have SI joint pain, we're talking about this is the space of the SI joint here. And that usually is causing pain because of a grinding of muscles being too tight and hip really stiff. For what it's worth, the hip is supposed to be super mobile. And if you're not mobile in the hips, then this has to move a little bit more, and it's not meant to do that very much. So we want to make sure that we're being mindful of what should be working and leave alone what already is working. And so that's what today is all about. So the next 20 to 30 minutes is going to be a couple of vibration platform workouts, 10 minutes each on the vibration platform. You can do any of these exercises on any platform, but I'm going to teach you the exercises from the ground, because if you can't do them on the ground, you're going to have a hard time doing it on the platform. If you have SI joint pain, or if you have hip pain or back pain, I'll teach you how to get your pelvic floor firing whether it's just standing or whether it's kneeling or whether it's just sitting. And we'll go through some basic exercises so that those of you that are just getting started with our Life Pro family on your wellness journey for pain relief or muscle gains or whatever quality of life you're trying to improve, you have all the resources here today to assist you with that. So make sure that you share and save this video for future references. You're going to see behind me, I've got the RumbleX Plus. You can use, like I said, whichever one you want. It's a little, you can use the RumbleX 40 or the Pro. They're both curved. But I also have our AeroFlex step back there, and I've got another mat behind me so I can try and keep my back as level as possible. I have done these exercises laying on the back with my feet elevated on the platform. So if you decide to try and do that, that's perfectly fine too. Some of the different props that I use that you don't have to have, but do make a big difference in how your body responds. We have the mini loop bands that come with all of our vibration platforms. I like to use the elementary primary colors, so red, yellow, and blue. I don't use the black much often at all. So we're going to toss that one to the side. I have a Mark Bell hip circle or slingshot. So if you have a booty band that has little grippies on it, I like using this instead of doubling up the other loop bands. And then this is a 9-10-inch Pilates bar ball. I call it the Ember Squishy Ball. But you don't have to have this ball if you have a volleyball or soccer ball, kickball, something that you can squeeze and it'll squeeze back into you and give you a little love back. These are great for these types of exercises. And then last but not least, for those of you that want an extra challenge, I have a 4-pound medicine ball, but you don't have to have any of these to get started with this. So let's go ahead and talk about body positioning. Most people, when they stand, they have a little slump here in their back and they're a little bit more rounded up top. So if I'm in this position, that means my pelvis is aligned this way. We want to be able to pull that position back, okay? So we're going to do that by almost imagining that you've got a $100 bill. I like to call Benjamin Franklin on the $100 bill. You're going to imagine that you've got a $100 bill in your butt crack and you're going to squeeze it. And when you squeeze it, it's actually going to pull your pelvis back where it should be. And you're going to feel a little pulling up here mid back, and that is okay. Because when these glute muscles fire, we are getting a little bit of a change in how this is positioned. And a lot of those back muscles attach here. So when it goes to transition the way it should be, you're going to feel a little tug there. And that's okay, because we're going to start to get these muscles deep and firing. Okay. So let's just start in a standing position where we are pushing our belly forward, okay, to pulling our belly back. Okay. So this is a standing pelvic tilt. Okay. So sticking your butt out with a little ski slope on the back and squeezing Benjamin Franklin with a $100 bill and tucking your butt under. That is the difference from here to here, okay? What I want you to remember, if you have IT band syndrome, if you have sciatica issues or SI joint problems, there's a hip mobility problem and there's a thoracic rotational problem. So I'm gonna start you with some very gentle exercises on the ground, laying on your back, not using your platform yet, but we're gonna get there. And this is kind of a warm up that you can do. And then if you want to do it with your body on the platform, I'm going to show you that for the first 10-minute segment. And then I will show you how to do the actual strengthening exercises for the last 10-minute segment. Okay. So laying on the mat so that you can see this up close. We've got lots of platforms here. It's a good problem to have. So laying here on the back, what I want you to do, if you have that squishy ball, okay, what I want you to do is you are going to roll your hips back so that you're able to squash your hand, okay? If you have one of your mini loop bands, lay it underneath of your back. I like to teach this using a towel, but if you don't have a towel and you want to try one of these mini loop bands, you can try that, okay? But you're going to lay on your back, and I want you to squeeze your butt cheeks like you're holding Benjamin, and you're going to tilt your hips towards your nose, and you're trying to put pressure on that rubber band. So if you can pull the rubber band out, it means there's too much airspace there. We got to shut that down, okay? So we're going to tilt our pelvis, okay? Tilting it back, and you should be able to tilt it back to the point that it's really hard to pull out that rubber band or to pull a towel out, okay? And you have to make sure that when you're doing that, that you're breathing. So you can hear me talking out loud to you, which means I'm breathing through my diaphragm, and these muscles right here on top of my belly are firing and twitching very, very, very easily because I'm used to this. So when you are trying to tilt your hips back and forth, okay, I'll lay this on me so you can see kind of how my body is transitioning. So as I tilt back, okay, forward to backward, that's kind of what it is looking like, all right? Over to the side, tilting back and forth, okay? And when we get to that end point, you should be able to compress that rubber band or that towel so nobody can slide it out underneath of you, and you should be able to continue breathing. But we don't want these muscles to get really tight because those muscles actually attach up here in our midsection, and that is a lot of times the cause of this SI joint pain and low back pain, hip problems. So it is tilting back, breathing, relaxing your neck, okay? And from here, all we're gonna do while keeping that towel down, don't let anybody pull out your towel, is just barely pick up a foot. Just barely pick up that foot, okay? And you're gonna put that back down without losing these muscles firing. When you are firing those muscles appropriately, you're almost going to see these muscles pop up, okay? So if when you are trying to do this exercise right here, if you don't feel those muscles really deep, you should be able to push through, even if you've got belly fat, you should be able to feel deep beneath the surface all the way down to your pubic bone, and you should be able to feel those muscles popping up, okay? And if they're not popping up, reposition your hip, rock back, try and pull out that towel underneath of you or that band, and pick up a foot, okay? This is, you might actually feel this fatiguing here in those hip flexors because you're using more in here than what you realize, okay? So if it's not something you're used to, it's okay if you should feel this popping, snapping through the hip, but I wanna make sure that you're getting the right position here in your low back, okay? So should not be able to slide your hand underneath, should not be able to pull the rubber band out if you're in a locked position. The hard exercise that we're gonna do here is, actually, let's relax here for just a second. Let's open up those hips. So once we tilt our hips back, let's loosey-goosey here. So tilt those hips back. Now let your legs collapse to the side, okay? We're just gonna let the legs collapse to the side. And what I want you to do is so if I'm letting my knees drop to the right, I'm taking my left hand and pushing my left hand away from my body, okay? So we're really stretching out this chest muscle because it connects in with the opposite thigh, okay? And if your chest muscle is tight, it pulls on the opposite hip. So we're gonna come back to center. Let's reload that pelvic girdle. So feel the air underneath, shut it down. Don't be able to pull out the band. Arms are laying side to side in a T formation. Let both of your knees collapse to the other side. You're gonna feel this in a couple of different places possible. You're gonna feel it right here in the front of your hip. You're gonna feel it here in your outer hip where your booty is, and you might feel it in your low back. And if you feel it there, that's exactly what we want, because those areas are likely carrying a lot more tension, and we have to shift that tension somewhere else so that those muscles are not overworking. So we're pulling back to center. And again, let's reload. So airspace, shut it down. Don't let me slide out that band or that towel, okay? And again, from here, we're gonna rock and roll to one side where you feel a really big stretch here across the hip bone. Take that left hand and push big, big, big time over your head. And you're gonna feel that stretch through your rib cage, and that's really important. If you're stuck there, it is pulling on those deep abdominals, which is causing your back pain. Believe it or not, your back pain is not caused because of your back. It's usually something else going on in the front, okay? And I want you to draw a half circle with your arm as you're maintaining this position. And now we're gonna come back to center. Let's reload. So we're gonna tilt those hips back, close off the air gap. Don't let me pull out the band. Rock and roll to the other side, reaching out to grab my fingertips through the screen, or take that hand and reach over the wall behind you, making sure that you're keeping that wall pushed away from you. And you're gonna feel that stretching from your thigh all the way up your rib cage, up to your armpit, all the way into your fingertips. So believe it or not, if you have numbness and tingling in your arm, like carpal tunnel, this will actually help release that as well over time. You have to be consistent, okay? Coming back to center. All right, now from here, what I want you to try and do is we're going to take our squishy ball, or you can take a pillow or a blanket or a towel and put it in between your knees, okay? We have to shut that air gap down, rock and roll your hips back so you can't pull out that rubber band, and I want you to try and pop the ball, okay? So you're going to squeeze and release, but at the same time, don't let me pull out that band or that towel. Squeeze and release. Yes, you're going to feel some new muscles deep in your crotch, in your groin, all the way up to your rib cage. It might feel like a lightning jolt, and that is okay. That is your pelvic floor firing, and that's exactly what we want. That is what takes away pain in the SI joint. It also takes away pain in the low back. So squeeze, and now let's hold for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. That's one way of doing it. We're going to put our feet together, kind of like we're gluing our feet together, okay? Feet are glued together, and knees are open, okay? So feet together, stuck like glue, knees are open. Let's shut down the air gap behind the pelvis. Don't pull out that band, okay? If you can pull it out, then you're not tilting far enough back. So make sure that we're not tilting, and make sure we're tilting back so we can't pull out that band or pull out the towel. This is not going to be an easy one, but it is one that works really well. So you're going to squeeze that ball with your feet together. And again, you're going to feel that in your inner thighs. You're going to feel it in your crotch, your groin. You're going to feel a jolt possibly going all the way up to your rib cage. But if you feel it in your back, it's because you're not closing down that air gap. So make sure that if you feel it in your back, really crush the floor with your back. Push your back into the floor as if I'm holding a towel there and I can't pull it out. Make sure that you continue to breathe as you squeeze. Now we're engaging and activating the entire power zone, from the umbrella of the diaphragm to the pelvic floor hammock, okay? And yes, it's not going to feel good because you're not used to using those muscles. But we're going to do this as well on the platform. I'll show you how to do that. The last exercise that I want you to try is you're going to bring your knees to a 90, your heels, foot, ankle to a 90, and your hips to a 90. So we call this 90, 90, 90. And you're going to push that ball straight over your head, and we're going to make sure that we're closing off that gap so we cannot pull out that band or that towel. And very slowly lower 1 foot at a time. Just 1 foot at a time. And as you do this, you're going to feel amber abs like you've never felt before, and you're going to feel fire coming from your lower belly. If you feel this pain in your back, you're progressing too fast. So go back to the basics and don't let your feet leave the ground until you can do that. This one might be a little too advanced for you, and that's okay. Take it in stride, right? The other thing you can do is you can take the legs a little bit higher because it changes the lever of how far your center of gravity is from you, and you can just drop one heel at a time with more of a straight leg. It's a little bit easier to do that than with your feet further away in a 90-90 position. But we're just lowering 1 foot to the floor at a time as we come back up. And if we want to make this even harder, we push the ball into the wall behind us. This is a lot harder because we're increasing the overall leverage of our body. Okay, now if your back starts to get a little sore, then we're going to squeeze our butt cheeks and we're going to push the sky away. So we're going to extend our back up off the floor. Doesn't matter how high. We don't want to go really, really high. We just want to get those booty muscles like squeezing nice and tight so that they're shortening, so that these here in the front are lengthening. If those are lengthening and these are shortening, SI joint gets to go back to its standard position. Okay, so slowly drop back down, reposition the pelvis, so rock forward so you can feel that airspace, crush the floor so you can't pull out the band, squeeze Benjamin with your butt, Benjamin Franklin $100 bill, push the hips through the roof. Okay, and as you do that, you should feel that here underneath, and you might even feel it into your low back a little bit, and that is okay. We do not want back pain, but if it's a little tiring, and if you feel a little bit of burning, and if you're weak there, keep going. That means you're working the right angle. Okay, now let's go ahead and take this to the platform, and I'll show you how we can do some of these exercises in a seated position on the platform from a hip mobility standpoint. And then from there, we'll go into the actual strengthening phase. And we're going to keep this, like I said, nice and short so that you can come back and enjoy doing these exercises. You can do these exercises every day. In fact, you can do them a couple of times a day. So if you have a control panel that you can have access to. Cover it up with a mat so you don't accidentally sit on it. And I'm using the P2 program. It is my favorite on any of the Rumble X models, okay? But again, on this one, we're trying to sit nice and upright versus slumped. Okay, so sitting nice and upright, put squishy ball in between your legs. You can lean back with your palms if you want to, and we're just squeezing the ball as if we're pulsing. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're just gonna hold. Okay, and as we hold, we can actually rock our hips side to side, and we can go hands free. This is even harder, okay? You can start with just having your hands on if you'd like to, but if you wanna make this harder, keeping your feet on the ground, squeeze the ball and rock those legs, because we're shortening all of these muscles in the thighs, inner thighs, which are causing these muscles out here to automatically relax and lengthen, okay? So however you choose to do that, if you wanna hold on to your legs, because that's where your comfort zone is, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna pulse, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. Okay, good. And rock and roll. So rocking and rolling. Okay, and from here, because we're wanting to loosen up, go ahead and let those hips rock to the side. And you're gonna feel that in your outer hip, but we're squeezing with the ball in between. So make sure you're not just hanging out. Make sure you're kind of squeezing that ball just a little bit. And that's gonna get certain muscles to fire, certain muscles to relax. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, rock to the side while you're squeezing. And yes, your thighs are gonna feel like they're on fire. That's great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rock to the side and hold. Good, good, good. Okay, now with your mini loop band, okay, with your mini loop band, go ahead and put that around your feet. Feet and ankles down here. Let me adjust my screen so you can see it. There we go. Okay, so from here, we're sitting up nice and tall so that our hips are tucked under, so we're not slouching. We're sitting up nice and tall. Hands are up if you want to make this a little more challenging. And now we're actually picking the foot up and trying to draw a rainbow, okay? Drawing a rainbow to the side. Yes, you're gonna feel it right here in those thigh muscles. What normally happens when you are sitting long hours of the day is all the muscles become imbalanced, which is what we're seeing a lot of for back pain. And now we're gonna switch sides and go the other side. So tapping almost like you're trying to step over something in a seated position, but we're not slouching. Our head and chest is tall. We're trying to create space from the hips to the ribs. So if you can create a lot of space in between your ribs and your hips, we're letting those muscles elongate. And if you're feeling energy here in your inner thigh, those muscles up here attach right there. So that's why you're feeling it. Good. Now, this is the fun one. So all together, step out, control in. Step out, control in. And if you need to hold on for more balance, just make sure you keep that chest high and those arms open. So we don't want the arms out here. If we can avoid it, let's open up your heart, open up your arms. Like you're getting ready to give somebody a really big hug. And we're stepping out and stepping together. If you need to hold on to those hands with the knees in order to step out, that's fine. Yes, you're gonna feel this. Nice job. Now we're just stepping in position. Call this like a dead bug position. Okay, nice and tall. Can go up to a big hand, big open hugs, and you are gonna feel things working. My legs are on fire. Stimulating the butt muscles to start working. Let's go ahead and take a break. Lean on back, and let's rock and roll those hips side to side while we're keeping a little bit of resistance on that resistance band, keeping our legs open as we are loosening up those hips, which takes pressure off of your SI joint. Okay, good, good, good. All right, now from here, I want to show you another variation of this. We can take a position kneeling on our knees, okay? And from here, we can push our hips forward and then we can relax. pushing our hips forward and relaxing. So I'm going to show you this from the side, and you can leave your mini loop band on if it helps you stay more balanced if you choose to. And if you don't feel like it's helping you stay balanced, that's okay too. Okay, so we're going to really over exaggerate this, sticking our booty out. Okay, now squeeze those butt cheeks and push those hips forward. And as we do this, take those hands and open up your ribs from your hips and look up into the sky. And right now, because I'm squeezing my butt and I'm getting all the energy coming up through the front, pelvic floor is active, glutes are firing, deep abdominal wall is really starting to open up. And so the muscles that have been short all day, it's even harder if you have to hold this resistance band apart, because now everything back here is firing, okay? But everything that has been sitting all day now gets to open up, okay? So sit on back, push up high, open up wide to the sky. Squeezing those butt muscles, holding Benjamin Franklin in your crack while keeping your legs stable. Sit on back. Woo! I am burning, guys. I hope you're burning too. Good. Now, wave a big rainbow wave, because now we're opening up these ribs, and that is really important. If you're not used to opening up that rib cage, that is a big source of pain in the neck and in the back. Okay? Now, arms are out of T to the side. Now we're rotating. But make sure we're squeezing those butt cheeks nice and firm. Don't give up on me here. Pushing those hips forward. We're not sitting back. We're pushing forward. Good. Okay, now because you've rewarded yourself, just bend over and enjoy the stretch. Let things loosen up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take that mini loop band off. This is where we're going to get our Aero Step. This is one of our products, the Life Pro Aero Step. And if that doesn't give you enough comfort, you can stack yourself up some mats so that you're same level, same distance, okay? What we're going to do now, let me check the timing here. We got a little over 2 minutes left on this program, so I'm going to kind of start this over. So go ahead and stop your unit, and then you can reset it for whatever program you want. Again, like me, I like the P2 program, so that's where I'm going on this one. And you're going to position yourself so that you can actually have your butt on the unit with your back supported on something elevated, okay? And again, the goal here is to be able to engage these muscles while working on stabilizing at the same level. So if I'm laying back directly on the floor and I'm not on an equal platform, I'm not equal space, equal level, then we have a pressure point in the hip where we don't want it. So make sure as you are tilting your hips under, can't pull out that resistance band. Okay, but things are firing. Okay, so there we go. Can't pull out that resistance band. And from here, now my hips are up. Now we're dropping down. So it's the same exercise I showed you at the start, except now we are elevated and we're doing this on top of the platform. Okay? And if you don't feel good in this position and you want to let the ball drop and you want to put your arms down to your side so you can feel where you're at, that's okay too, right? And if you can't drop all the way down and we just make a little bit of a transition, that's okay. But I just want to make sure, yes, you're actually going to feel pressure right back here, right about your SI joint, where your butt crack is where you're going to feel intense pushing down on the unit. And that's good because we're massaging those muscles that attach in on that point on the back of the pelvis. And we get to lengthen those muscles by shortening these in the front. So we're going to rock and roll those hips back. Again, just make sure you're in your comfort space. If you need to slide down on your machine and stabilize your head better, that's fine. Everybody's got a different happy spot. So squash, close off that airspace so you cannot pull out the rubber band, okay? And from here, let's just start picking up a foot from the ground, okay? We got stuff in the way there. Just picking up something from the ground, one after the other. And you're gonna feel a lot of burning through here, okay? Where this gets really hard is if we do this midair. So we switch midair, I like to push the sky away when I do this because I can feel it all the way up into my chest, the abdominal muscles really firing. Okay. Another option, if you feel a popping hip, bring one knee back, one leg goes up in the air, slowly lower and push your heel away from you as you raise your leg back up. Okay, slowly lower, keeping that knee tucked in nice and close, and we're squeezing that butt muscle so it doesn't drop all the way down to the ground, and then bring it on back up. So this is another easy way that you can massage your backside with the vibration of the platform while strengthening all at the same time in a lengthened position. So it's a really cool concept in order to relieve pain while getting strength and activating your pelvic floor. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and switch. So bring the knees together. One leg comes back, tuck it in nice and deep like a hug, a deep stretch. The other foot, heel is in the, put your entire footprint on the ceiling. So we don't want to be pointed. We want to be flat. Drive that heel away from you into the wall in front of you, and you're going to feel a really good stretch right there in the crease of your inner thigh groin. Slowly bring it up. And remember, we're using those abdominal muscles to bring that leg up. We're not just raising the leg with the thigh muscle. We are firing away those deep, deep abdominal muscles that you really don't even know that you have. Okay? So if you have discomfort with this because of your vibration platform, then get yourself another layer of a mat or a towel, like a beach towel, and lay it on top of your platform for extra cushioning. It'll work really, really well for this. Okay? And so we do that. Okay, now here's the fun one. You can use whatever color band you want. I'm going to use blue. Go ahead and put the band around your shoes, going around the shoes, not around the ankles, going around the shoes. And we're making sure that we're closing off that airspace like I showed you at the beginning. If you want your arms underneath of you, you can, but we're just opening, slowly release. Opening, slowly release. Now we're going to feel it back here. And why does that matter? Because if you have a weak pelvic floor and you have SI joint problems, more than likely your hamstrings are weak. It might feel like they're tight, but they're actually just being pulled on the pelvis because of the vacuum of how the pelvis is aligning. So make sure that if you feel soreness back here, that is okay. It is not going to cause more sciatica. It is not going to cause more hamstring tightness. It's actually going to help everything because most everybody has got really weak hamstrings. Okay, so there's that. Well, let's go with a little bit more speed. And if you are using the dark blue band that I just put on, ooh, there those things are firing. Then if you need to switch and use a yellow or a red band because it's easier, that's fine. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, let's go bent knees. So 90, 90, 90. Open those legs up. Make sure you're closing off that gap. So don't create airspace. Shut it down. And bring those legs back together. Open them up together, close together. This is working a lot of strengthening here in the glutes. It is also strengthening those deep abdominals, which means we are releasing SI joint space causing pain. If I'm separating out, I am creating a different vacuum on the inside on a co-contraction, okay? So this is actually gonna help you. As much as it burns out here, it is not going to contribute to more IT band syndrome or sciatica. It's actually going to take it away. So make sure you do whatever you can tolerate, modify as needed. Nice job. All right, let's do 5 more up top. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and take that band off. And now go ahead and slide yourself so your feet are on the floor. Let's go ahead and lift your booty up off the platform. Slowly drop down to where you just get to relax and feel. Let's go ahead and bring those feet together. Open up those legs, open up that groin, open up those arms, and just reward yourself for doing this great series of exercises. And it's okay if you're not feeling your low back into the platform. If you do, bonus points. And if you don't, it's okay. I'd rather you at least relax and reward yourself. But if you can shut down that air gap by really pulling that pelvic girdle up, you can feel those muscles firing through there. You'll feel a big bulge up here in a good way. You'll feel the muscles pop. And yes, you might feel a big stretch here on the inner thighs. That's okay. That's what we need. Feet come out together, drop those knees to the inside. Now we're stretching out a little bit more here on the outside. okay? And so if that's where you're comfortable at, that's fine. We can also rock the hips to the side the way we started, really opening up the arms to a T formation. And then we're gonna go to the other side and back and forth. And then nice and easy, I want you to pull yourself up. If you got to use your platform to kind of stair step your way up to a seated position where you're nice and tall. You can slump back in order to feel a good stretch. Chest is nice and lifted and tall. Take those arms, push away. Make sure you breathe in and we blow out. Big, big arms off to the side. Deep breath up. Push away and let those arms fall. Put those hands behind you. Push that chest out, separating your ribs from your hips. And really enjoy that vibration. Yes, it is running right through the center of your body, your pelvic floor. I like to call it the happy zone. It's where all the power enters the body. Nice and easy. Roll up nice and slow. You might be a little lightheaded and dizzy after that, and that's okay. And yes, I didn't take the full 10 minutes on there, but we got a good little 30-minute segment here. So yeah, that was a lot of work. The hair's a mess, but it's all good. I feel great. So I hope that you benefit from that you felt some of those things starting to shift. Baby steps, my friends. Make sure that you're celebrating all the small things along the way. It's like not big wow factor, like in one chance. Sometimes it is, but it is having a good attitude about it, believing that it is possible, and being consistent with your programming. So make sure that you save this video, come back to it. It will be saved and uploaded onto Facebook and YouTube. So if you need to revisit it over and over and over again, this is just a little bit of some of my secrets as to how I fix SI joint pain, low back pain, hip problems, strengthening and getting that pelvic floor to start firing, as I have learned the hard way through my own personal journey. But as you get better and better, you'll be able to advance those exercises. But this is just the getting started beginner's version. And you're never too good to just start beginning at the beginner's level. If you're already really good at it, you can still always go backwards and try the basics all over again. You might actually learn something along the way. So I hope you have a great day. And I want to say thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a great day.